Hello, chess enthusiasts. Welcome to our analysis of one of the most iconic games in chess history, Garry Kasparov vs Anatoly Karpov, played during the 1985 World Championship. This game is a perfect showcase of the intense rivalry that defined an era in chess and highlights the brilliant strategic mind of Kasparov as he faced off against the formidable Karpov. In this match, we will dive deep into the opening moves, the critical middle game decisions, and the tactical skirmishes that ultimately led to a thrilling finish. Whether you are a seasoned player or a curious beginner, there's something to learn from the decisions made by these two grandmasters. 1 d4. Garry Kasparov advances the pawn to d4, claiming central space, while Anatoly Karpov develops the knight to f6, controlling e4 and d5. 2 c4. Kasparov plays c4, reinforcing control over the center and preparing to develop. Karpov responds with e6, preparing to support the d5 square and develop the bishop. 3 Nc3. Kasparov develops the knight to c3, attacking the center. Karpov counters with bb4, pinning the knight on c3 and increasing pressure on the center. 4 Nf3. Kasparov develops the knight to f3, reinforcing central control. Karpov moves his knight to e4, challenging white's central pawn structure. 5 qc2. Kasparov plays qc2, eyeing the knight on e4 and solidifying control over the center. Karpov responds with f5, supporting the knight and looking to expand on the king side. 6 g3. Kasparov plays g3, preparing to fianchetto the bishop and solidifying the king side. Karpov develops the knight to c6, increasing control over the center and the e5 square. 7 bg2. Kasparov fianchettos the bishop to g2, putting pressure on the center. Karpov castles king side, ensuring king safety and connecting the rooks. 8. Kasparov castles, securing his king's safety. Karpov captures the knight on c3, initiating an exchange and doubling Kasparov's pawns. 9. Kasparov recaptures the bishop with b takes c3, maintaining a strong pawn presence in the center. Karpov plays na5, aiming to challenge the b3 pawn and pressure white's queen side. 10 c5. Kasparov pushes c5, challenging the knight's position on a5 and gaining space. Karpov plays d6, solidifying the center and preparing for piece development. 11 c4. Kasparov continues to push with c4, restricting Karpov's pawn movement. Karpov responds with b6, reinforcing the knight on a5 and preparing to develop the dark squared bishop. 12 bd2. Kasparov plays bd2, developing the bishop and preparing potential trades. Karpov captures on d2, exchanging pieces and relieving some pressure. 13. Kasparov recaptures with n takes d2, centralizing his knight. Karpov plays d5, aggressively challenging Kasparov's central pawn structure. 14. Kasparov captures c takes d5, opening the center and leading to exchanges. Karpov recaptures with e takes d5, completing the trade and opening lines for activity. 15 e3. Kasparov plays e3 to support the central pawn and prepare for development. Karpov develops his bishop to e6, looking to contest the center. 16 qc3. Kasparov brings his queen to c3, eyeing the king side and reinforcing the knight on d2. Karpov plays rf7, preparing to support the center and possibly lift the rook later. 17. Kasparov places the rook on c1, putting pressure along the c-file. Karpov plays rb8, preparing to pressure the b2 pawn and contest that file. 18. Kasparov plays rab1, doubling rooks on the b-file and increasing pressure on b7. Karpov moves re7, stacking rooks and fortifying the center. 19 a4. Kasparov plays a4, denying Karpov's knight access to b3 and solidifying control. Karpov develops the bishop to f7. 20 bf1. Kasparov places the bishop on f1, retracing it to support the center. Karpov plays h6, creating a flight square for the king and preventing back rank issues. 21 bd3. Kasparov develops the bishop to d3, aiming at the kingside. Karpov plays qd7, connecting his rooks and preparing to defend the e-file. 22 qc2. Kasparov moves the queen to c2, centralizing and eyeing the kingside. Karpov develops the bishop to e6, aiming to reinforce central control. 23 bb5. Kasparov plays bb5, pinning the knight on c6 and increasing pressure on the position. Karpov retreats his queen to d8, offering protection and securing defense. 24 rd1. Kasparov plays rd1, increasing central control with the rook. Karpov plays g5, beginning a pawn storm to attack the center and open lines. 25 nf3. Kasparov develops the knight to f3, reinforcing the center. Karpov mobilizes the rook to g7, adding pressure on the king side. 26 ne5. Kasparov plays ne5, aggressively positioning the knight and increasing potential threats. Karpov plays f4, pushing forward and creating complications. 27 bf1. Kasparov shifts the bishop to f1, repositioning for tactical play. Karpov's queen moves to f6, reinforcing the pawn and coordinating for a potential attack. 28 bg2. Kasparov develops the bishop to g2, targeting the weakened squares around Karpov's king. Karpov plays rd8, reinforcing central control and enhancing coordination. 29 e4. Kasparov pushes e4, aggressively opening lines and looking to break through Karpov's defenses. Karpov captures with d takes e4, reacting to the pawn thrust. 30 b takes e4. Kasparov captures back with b takes e4, targeting the pawn and keeping his pieces active. Karpov plays re7, uniting rooks and increasing central stability. 31 qc3. Kasparov centralizes the queen on c3, adding pressure on the king side. Karpov moves the bishop to d5, targeting the rook on e7 and creating tactical threats. 32 re1. Kasparov places the rook on e1, preparing tactical and applying pressure along the e-file. Karpov moves his king to g7, creating space and breathing room. 33 ng4. Kasparov plays ng4, tactically positioning the knight for future threats. Karpov's queen moves to f7, reinforcing the pressure and supporting the king side. 34 b takes d5. Kasparov captures on d5, removing a strong piece from Karpov's formation. Karpov recaptures with r takes d5, maintaining active pieces but facing challenges to coordinate effectively. 35 r takes e7. Kasparov captures on e7, initiating a trade and simplifying the position while targeting Karpov's central control. Karpov takes with q takes e7, aiming for stability after the exchanges. 36 re1. Kasparov's rook centralizes on e1, ramping up pressure on Karpov's position. Karpov moves the queen back to d8, ensuring safety and regrouping. 37 ne5. Kasparov plays ne5, tactically positioning the knight for a strong presence in the center. Karpov's queen moves to f6, coordinating to defend the position. 38 c takes b6. Kasparov pushes takes b6, opening lines and creating a path for future attack. Karpov captures with qx b6, but the b6 pawn poses a significant weakness. 39 g takes f4. Kasparov plays g takes f4, preparing to solidify the king side and present threats to Karpov. Karpov captures on d4, looking to simplify the position further. 40 nf3. Kasparov places the knight on f3, aiming to control the center and offer additional support. Karpov pushes his knight to b3. 41 rb1. Kasparov plays rb1. Karpov plays qf6, coordinating defenses while attempting to stabilize. 42 q takes c7 check. Kasparov delivers the decisive blow with q takes c7, directly attacking the king, leading to overwhelming threats and a winning position. Karpov resigns as Kasparov emerges victorious due to insurmountable pressure and imminent checkmate. Thank you for joining us as we analyzed this remarkable game between Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov from the 1985 World Championship. This match not only highlighted the tactical brilliance and strategic depth of both players but also showcased the intense rivalry that defined their era in chess. Kasparov's ability to capitalize on his central control, combined with Karpov's resilient defense, led to a captivating battle filled with dynamic shifts in advantage. As we conclude, it's important to note how such games continue to inspire both players and enthusiasts alike, emphasizing the beauty and complexity of chess. If you enjoyed the commentary and insights, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more chess content. Feel free to leave your thoughts on this game or any questions you might have in the comments below. Until next time, keep playing, keep learning, and may your next game be filled with creativity and strategy.